There's the problem. All right, let's do this thing. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the patience here. Let's get started. Patience here. Let's get started. All right, welcome in. We'll try this again. We tried this a minute ago and it just did not work out. But I think we've got our issues worked out now. Ham Shack TV here, AA4WX. So tonight, we're going to do a little hangout. You know, you guys are here. I'm here. Soul Studios, I already see you in the chat. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. So we've got a special guest here. We're just going to kind of kick it back old school like we used to back in the day. And let me pull this up, and then we will bring him in. And his stuff's all jacked up. We'll try this one more time. How about that one? Now we can see him. Welcome in Brady, KY4CQ, all the way from Lower Alabama here tonight. Brady, tell everybody about yourself. Tell them what's going on.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Brady, KY4CQ. On that GMRS side, I'm WRKM 219. Coming to you live down here from Fort Novacell, Alabama. So we've been it's like good old times, Josh. It's been a minute since we had a minute just to sit down and do this thing.
Yeah. Truth be told, I mean, gosh, I guess Huntsville is the first time we've been in front of each other physically in probably what, 7-8 years, maybe longer.
Probably. Since, I mean, at least since I left Knoxville, and that was 2016. So yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, I mean, Brady and I we're 4 years apart in age, something like that.
I think you're the older of the two.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm the old man. Well, I guess we're all old men if we're hams. I mean, that kind of goes with the territory. But so I got licensed in 2010 and used to hang out, still do, but primarily on the WB4GBI repeater systems. Please stop that now. Sorry, folks. I've got kids here. Can't always control them. Welcome to Zoom, right? But anyway, hung out on the WB4GBI repeater systems. That's Tim Berry for all those that don't know who Tim is, but he's pretty well known among the ham community all over the country. He's also the technical director for the Vol Network with the Tennessee Volunteers football, basketball, all that good stuff. But anyway, he's got several repeaters around here, and I used to hang out on the 145-470 machine. And all of a sudden, I hear this kid get on there. I won't repeat his old call on the air. We'll leave that alone. But I'm like, well, cool. I'm what, 20, 21 at the time? And I said, I got to talk to this guy. I'm tired of talking to old men. So we I about said we hooked up. That wouldn't be good. But we just kind of got to know each other and hung out and all that kind of thing. And Brady's actually been a ham a little bit longer than I have. He's been, what was it, 08 you said?
Yep, 2008. Took my technician. I was didn't even have a driver's license yet, man. I just turned 15 and had mom drive me down to a church on Saturday to go test with Bobby Williams, man, and the U-Tart guys. That was pretty cool.
The man, WB1, or what is it, W1BEW, I think?
Yes, sir, yep. And he went down there and took the paper test in person with him, and I think 6 months went by before I had a call sign. It was back in the old days, man. You had to wait to get that license in the mail.
Yeah, when I took my license test, I took it with N4JTQ up there in Sevier County. Those of you that don't know where Sevier County is, that's where Dollywood, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, all that is. It took me a little over a month to get my license after I passed my technician. But for those of you older hams out there, it ain't like that anymore. You take a test, and if the ARRL or the FCC doesn't have issues, you'll have your license within probably 24 to 48 hours. Yep. Huge difference than what it used to be. I guess that's one thing we can thank COVID for was online testing. But anyway, so Brady was this, 16, 17-year-old band geek that worked at McDonald's when I met him. He didn't look anything like he does now, but I'll leave that alone and won't share anything on that. But
it was crazy. It's crazy how much things have changed between looking back on it now, and it was fun though, man. We same way talking to you, and I got tired of talking to them old men and getting yelled at all the time for being young and being a no-code technician, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Quick shout out to the chat here. It looks like we've got 8 folks watching. Some dude named Brady's in there. Got Soul Studios here with us tonight, and we've been chatting back and forth, me and him, quite a bit. Good evening to you. Steven, as always, this is his 3rd stream in a row. Thanks for being here. He's been here so often, we gave him some mod privileges in here, so keep him in line, Steven. We got Von Faust in here. That would be, Poda Power. Thanks for joining me tonight, folks. Poda Power is doing some amazing things. We are growing about the same rate. They're sitting at 400. I'm sitting at, well, not quite 400, almost 400. 397 subscribers last time I looked. So we're making progress together. Hopefully we're working on some ideas to maybe do some collaborations with them later. So stick around. By the way, you can see that icon in Brady's hat there, Poda Power. He's a Poda person, so we'll be talking some Poda here in just a little while. And that's it for now. If you haven't said anything in the chat, jump in there and say hello and let us know you're here and where you're from, maybe your call sign, that kind of stuff. And Soul Studio says some teams within the hour. That's actually true. What is it?
Yeah, I got my extra class through Glarg. Shout out to them, and I had my new call sign with my license within 20 minutes of passing my extra exam. So it was super fast.
Yeah. Speaking of licensing, that's one thing that Brady and I have done together. We both got our general the same day. They had a general on the day class up in Sevier County, and it was led by Harvey Fenwick, N6 EST, and he taught the class, and then about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we took the test, and both Brady and I passed it. And for you folks that have been around this hobby for a while, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. Where do you think the first place me and Brady went as soon as we had that CSCE in our hands? Right down the road to Tintech. So we went straight down there and got on the air and started making a few contacts. I actually remember my first contact. It was W7RN out in Nevada. I don't remember if there was any context to that, if they were like contesting or anything, but that was my first HF contact, short of like a field day or something. You remember yours when you got your general, who your first contact was?
Lord, no. But I remember before we got our general, I remember being up there in Sevierville and getting on 10 meters, man, and making DX contacts on the technician portion of 10. And I remember we left that day. I forget whose house we were at. But you remember that? We were in there and making contacts on 10, and we left, and we were like, we've got to upgrade. This HF stuff's a lot of fun. And I think the next weekend or something is whenever we did our general upgrade. I'd
forgotten all about that. I don't remember the last name or the call sign of the person, but I remember doing that. His name was Charles.
Yep.
And he kind of lived back in the country there in Sevierville, just a little bit, not too far off. But I don't remember his name, but yes, certainly. And I think he ran Yaesu equipment, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. He had we were on a Radio Shack, an old HTX 10, and and he had a dipole up, and we were both technicians at the time, and I remember throwing my call sign out and getting a guy from South America, and I was like, man, this is the coolest thing ever. And it was shortly after that we upgraded to general. So
Yep. I think we were in Sevierville anyway that day for a Sevier County Emergency Radio Service meeting. I think that's what we were up there for.
I believe so. We spent way too much time just running around getting into all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, it was some weird times, man. I would get off work, and I don't think you had any friends. I didn't have any friends, so we just hung out and drove around all night, stirring up trouble on the repeaters. It was a good time, though.
I still don't have any friends. I mean, let's be real. I'm sitting here talking to my computer screen.
That's true. Yeah.
So anyway, up to 9 folks watching, and we've had a couple jump in here. Reed Aviation RC. You'll want to stick around, Reed Aviation. We have a pilot in here with us tonight, so we'll come back to that in a little while. Greg Stewart, KY4CQ, good to meet you in the flesh this weekend at Huntsville. It was really fun coming up there, hanging out, and going and getting that Mexican food. Boy, I'm still talking about that chorizo. It was so good.
Oh yeah, them chorizo tacos.
Yeah, no, I had chorizo nachos.
You had the nachos. That's right.
Yep. And Stephen Assay reminds everybody, thanks for joining in. Hit the like button and help bump us on Google. Yes, folks, got 4 likes right now, but 10 people watching. I want everybody to go. Let me get my bearings right. Yeah, everybody go right down this way and hit that thumbs up button. You don't know how much that helps the Google algorithm. Let's blow this thing up and get a bunch of people in here. Also, if you haven't already, straight below Brady, you will see a subscribe button. Hit that button. That way you're notified whenever we go live or whatever. And there's also should be a notification bell next to that. If you hit that notification bell, you're going to get hit immediately with a notice that, hey, we're live, or hey, he uploaded a video. Also, if you haven't already, we do have a Discord available. The trouble with inviting you to Discord is the links expire. So if you are interested in Discord, and you're just hit me up and let me know. We'll drop a Discord link in the chat, and you're welcome to join. Brady, you've got Discord. Are you on my Discord yet?
I am, yeah. One of I don't know, 10 now that I'm a team lead VE.
Right.
So,
Brady, if you got a second, go ahead and drop that Discord link invite in the chat.
I will. I'll do that for you right now.
Yeah, appreciate that. So yeah, that's me and him go way back, and as long as you all want to sit here and hang out with us, we'll be here for a little while tonight. That's for sure. We got a lot to talk about. So we're going to keep talking about mine and Brady's friendship over the years. There's some funny stories to be told. Let me tell you, folks, I'll have y'all rolling in the floor before the night's over with. I don't know, that may be a stretch, but there's definitely some comical moments out there. We're also going to talk about POTA. Brady's a big POTA person. I mean, the guy's wearing a hat right now that has POTA on it, along with a POTA green shirt. I guess that's green, unless my color's wrong.
No, it's green.
Yeah, a POTA green shirt. I mean, this guy's all about the POTA. Let me tell you. And we were talking with Reed Aviation a moment ago. Brady's actually a pilot. So we'll talk a little bit about that. He is in the military, so there's some things that he can't talk about, but he's been fooling around with airplanes as long as I know him. So there's plenty of aviation to be talked about. We do want to talk a little bit about the GMRS controversy that's going on right now. I want to get Brady's take on it. I still have not formed an opinion yet, but we'll talk about it a little more there. Brady's working on getting you the Discord link in the chat there. So go ahead and drop that there. And one last thing, and we'll continue on for the night. If you do like the content that I have been producing lately, I am on Patreon now. If you go to patreon.com/HamShackTV, we have 5 levels of membership. Now, usually with folks' Patreon, there's perks to each level. I'm so young in this, I do not have perks established yet, but they will come. You got to give me some time to think about it. So if you feel generous and want to help us keep moving along, patreon.com/HamShackTV. And I think that's about all the commercial break we're going to have tonight. I've got 4,000 things to bring up in every stream here, so appreciate your patience with that. So anyway, back to what we were talking about, Brady. We were talking about aviation there a little bit. Tell us about how you got into flying and when you got your pilot's license and what you've been doing with flying lately.
Yeah, so I, like most people, started out Microsoft Flight Simulator, age 14 or so, and I got it and started flying with that, and I was like, this is pretty cool, man. So for my 15th birthday or so, I got a introductory flight lesson as a birthday gift, and fell in love with it, and I knew I had to do it. So this was back in 2007, 2006, somewhere around that time frame. So this was back whenever it was actually affordable to get a pilot's license, right? So got all the way up, soloed on my 16th birthday, so that was pretty cool. I soloed out of a little grass strip in a Cessna 150 out at Oliver Springs, Tennessee, and had mom and dad and everybody out there taking photos. It was pretty cool. Took a couple of years off just due to work and career moves and all that, and didn't end up actually getting my private pilot's license until I went to Oklahoma City, relocated out there for work in 2016, and then I kind of finished up my pilot's license out there. So got my private pilot's license, and it out of a little airport in just outside Oklahoma City, and yeah, I've been flying ever since. I think on the fixed wing side now, I'm up to almost 230 hours, and then yeah, I was fortunate enough. About a year and a half ago, I got picked up by the Georgia Army National Guard to be a Black Hawk pilot for them. So I've been down here in South Alabama just flying around in helicopters for the last year and a half or so. So that's where I'm at now. I've got roughly 130 hours or so of rotary wing time, and I'll be finished up with it. Should be around the first of the year or so. Get back to my normal life.
So. Roger. Yeah. This guy's confident, y'all. Let me just tell you, he's ridiculously confident in his helicopter skills. Some of you that are experienced in aviation may think I'm crazy about this. This guy thinks that, or he totally believes that if his blades stop turning on that helicopter, he can get that helicopter on the ground safely. And I'm just like, how? I don't understand the physics of that. I guess that's why I'm not a pilot.
Your blades have to spin, but if your engines have stopped, you can still get it down. It's not that, as long as your blades are spinning, you've got lift there, man. That's the whole concept behind the rotary wing. So
okay, maybe that's where I've been confused on it, because my thinking is the blades are just stopped.
No, if your engine quits, you've got your transmission and your rotor head, right? And your transmission will disconnect from your rotor head through what they call a freewheeling unit, right? And that allows your rotors to spin freely. And as you're going down, you're trading that air to keep, it's going up to your rotor system, keeping your rotor blades turning. You've got full control over the helicopter. You just pull everything you got at the end there to cushion your landing. So. Well,
I guess it would be rare for the engines to stop anyway, but even more rare for the blades to stop as well.
Yeah. I mean, the Black Hawk's been around since 1971, and it's never had a dual engine failure in the history of it ever being alive. So, it's never had a hydraulic failure. So, I mean, it's a pretty reliable machine. There's a reason they put 2 engines on a helicopter. You can fly with one. The second one is just there for redundancy.
Yeah. So, you got any interesting flying stories?
Other than getting lost on my long cross country, that was interesting. When you get your private pilot's license, you have to do two solo cross countries. You have to do a short one, an out and a back, and then you have to do a long one with 3 stops. And I told my instructor, I said, hey, I want to go somewhere and get some lunch. I said, this would be pretty cool to fly somewhere and get some lunch, document it, whatever. He said, okay, cool. So we planned out my route, and I was going from Oklahoma City to Ardmore, Oklahoma, and then from Ardmore, Oklahoma out to Enid, Oklahoma, stop for lunch and come back. Well, going out to Ardmore is no big deal. You take off at Oklahoma City, you follow interstate, hit the interstate 35 there. It goes from Oklahoma City to Dallas. You put it at your left wing, you fly all the way to Ardmore. Our airport's right there. Well, if you've never been to Oklahoma, Oklahoma is flat. There's nothing out there, and everything looks the same. All right, so taking off out of Ardmore, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to Enid now. It's pretty cool. You pull up my chart, and I'm like, yeah, I need to go this heading right here. Well, I didn't take into account the wind factor, and so I'm flying my heading, not correcting for the wind. Everything looks flat, and I'm like, okay, it should take me 30 minutes to get there. Well, 30 minutes rolls up, and I'm like, I don't see an airport. I don't know where I am. And pull up my map and look, and yeah, I'd been blown off course by about 20 miles, so had to declare an emergency because I was lost. Got up with air traffic control, said, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm, I think this is where I think I am. I'm trying to go here. Can you help me get over there? And they were pretty cool about it. They got me up on the radar, helped me get to where I was going. But it was pretty scary being up there your first time and then getting lost,
So this was your.
But I was overconfident. Do what?
This was your solo long
cross country. Yep, it was the final one that I had to do before we started our night training, and then so you've got to do 2 solo cross countries in the daytime, and then you have to do a night cross country with your instructor for your private pilot's license. And this is my last one, but my instructor was watching me on the radar the whole time on his phone, and I got back and landed, and he was like, have a little bit of a scare there? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he pulled up his phone on the ADSB and saw where I'd gotten lost, and he's like, yeah, it's what happens whenever your confidence level turns into cockiness. So
yeah.
So
well, it can be some scary things, but you pulled it off. That's why I would say the Army's lucky to have you and that kind of stuff. Have you done ham radio in the area?
I have, yep. I haven't done it a whole lot. I'm from Tennessee originally, and I fly home from South Georgia. When I'm not doing Army stuff, I live down in South Georgia. I live on the Alabama side of Columbus, Georgia, right, in a little town called Phoenix City, and have an airplane that is based out of Columbus, and I fly back home a couple times a year. And I don't get to do it a whole lot because you have to transition. No matter which way you go, you got to transition through Atlanta's airspace, and then it's just a lot of radio traffic, right? But I have been lucky where I've been over the mountains of North Carolina, over Murphy, North Carolina, or so at 11,000 feet, and made contacts from 4 states on 146.52. So I'm making contacts from Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and South Carolina. From 11,000 feet on an HT, so that was pretty cool. That was a neat experience.
Yeah, I've worked a few, and these are rare, but a few aeronautical mobiles or airplane. I've heard it both, aeronautical mobile and airplane mobile. It's always cool. Cool to hear somebody flying and operating at the same time. I'll tell you something that I've never seen before, but I learned about in Huntsville. Carlos, Kilo 9 Oscar Lima, met him. He's one of the big YouTubers in the ham radio world. Parachute portable or parachute, I forget if he calls it parachute mobile or parachute portable. Either way, talking on 5.2 while he's falling from an airplane. That's just.
Yeah, and he's in Long Island CW Club with me learning CW, and his plan is to do a CW activation while jumping out of a airplane. So he's trying to design a CW key that'll strap to his wrist if he can sit there and dit and daw while he's jumping out of an airplane. So
that to me seems like that's a gamble. Well, I mean, jumping out an airplane's a gamble, but risking your operation to do CW in the short amount of time that you're falling from an airplane, it's like, I think I'd rather do voice. At least I have a better chance at somebody coming back. Yeah, Soul Studios, thanks for reminding me about that. Speaking of Carlos, he told a story, which you can find that story along with the first half of the YouTuber forum on my channel. It's the YouTuber forum. Go under Hamfest, I think I have it listed. Under that playlist, you'll see it. Some great stories by some of your favorite ham radio YouTubers, but one of them was Carlos. And he was actually doing a jump, I believe it was Friday or Saturday last week, there in Alabama. And he has this bag he jumps with. It's got his radio gear in it, right?
Yeah.
Well, as he's jumping out of the airplane, his bag was not attached to him.
Oh, no.
Yes. So his bag free-falled, his radio bag free-falled. So remind me, if you remember the altitude, I want to think he said 14,000 feet. 14,000 feet is
That's about where they jumped from, yeah.
That's a heck of a long way for a bag to free fall, and thank God no one was under it. I mean, that would have done some damage. Well,
but imagine the marketing for that radio if it had survived and he was able to transmit with it from that far.
We've actually already talked about that in the forum. Okay, Soul says it was 15,000 feet, so I was close. Well, anyway, he brought the bag and the radio to the YouTuber forum, and again, you can see this in the YouTuber forum video on my channel. The radio survived. Little beat up, but the radio 100% survived. Still transmits, still receives. Nothing wrong whatsoever. It might have had a few scuffs. Thanks for reminding me, Soul. It was an ICOM ID50. ICOM ID50. I believe Carlos's YouTube channel is Life at Terminal Velocity.
It is, yep.
Yep, so go check that out, folks. He's definitely worth a like and subscribe. But stay right here. Don't leave right now. Stay right here with us. Don't go anywhere.
That's enough marketing right there for ICOM. They don't even need it. They don't need to run any more ads. They just need to show that or tell that story.
Shoot, yeah, absolutely. You and your Motorola people. If an ICOM can handle it, you're good to go. So Reed brings up a good point. You talked a little bit a few minutes ago about CW. You've gotten into CW. You're doing the Long Island CW Club. Talk about what sparked your interest with, and no pun intended, sparked your interest with CW and got you into CW and making all those contacts.
Yeah, man. So if you had asked me in 2008 as a long-haired little hippie stoner kid with a technician license if I would ever be in CW, I probably would have laughed at you. And I think we used to make fun of those guys even. But as I kind of got older into the hobby, man, portable operation kind of became big for me. I've moved around a lot with the military and with work between Oklahoma and Georgia and Alabama now, and I've never really had a good home station. And like I have a home station now, but my noise floor is like really high. So sideband has never really been good for me. And so I've done a lot of portable operation, and with portable I've done a lot of QRP stuff. So with QRP, the only way to go is CW or digital, and I'm not a digital mode guy. I dabble with some FT8 some, but it's just to me it's just not the same as like having a QSO with somebody, right? So I think it was KY4CQ. I think it was Josh had put a video out on the mountaintopper radios at one time, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So I and I was like, I made it my goal. I was like, I want to get a mountain topper, but I said to get a mountain topper, because it's a CW only radio, I've got to learn CW. And that kind of sparked my interest. And I had tried to learn it kind of off and on throughout the years, never really put any real effort into it. But then I told myself, I said, I will learn CW before the end of the year. And I had a month off from flight school where I was just on hold every day. I had 8 hours a day of doing nothing, of just sitting at home waiting to get a phone call to go back to class. And I was like, this is my time to learn CW. So I went from knowing absolutely no CW to making my first CW contact in about 27 days. Taught myself the alphabet in about 2 weeks, and then just got on the air. And then a month later, I had 100 contacts with Straight Q Century Club. Got my Centurion on board, and when I looked the other day, I'm up to 500 contacts almost on CW. So, done quite a few POTA activations on CW, and CW is kind of my thing now, man. The bug bit me hard, and it's kind of where I'm at now. So it's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of really good people in CW. It doesn't seem like the lid community is as high in the CW side as it is in some of the sideband, and so they've been really welcoming. And they don't care if you screw up. You know, I'm conversational now up to about 15 words a minute, and there's times where I just can't get letters out and cannot get call signs out. Right, I'm trying to send it, just can't make my hands do what my brain's wanting to do, and they are the most like patient people I've ever met. So, Long Island CW Club is how I learned. Anybody that's wanting to learn, that's the way to go. 100%. Good group of people. The classes are great. It's like $90 for a lifetime membership. All the classes are on Zoom. Go to as many classes as you want to go. They get you from not knowing CW to 25, 30 words a minute in some advanced classes. And then within the CW, you know, you've got different little ways you can go there. And I've kind of taken the niche route where I'm really big into straight key. For some reason, just the old telegraph straight keys, man. That's kind of where I've gone. So I'm a Straight Key Century Club member, and I've kind of been working my way up through the ranks with there. I've made Tribune twice now, which means I have 250 contacts with other Straight Key Century Club members, and I'm working on my Senator, which is kind of like the top dog, if you will, of their awards.
Well, that's cool. And I know you've made contacts with at least one of my fellow club members in the Smoky Mountain Amateur Radio Club, Mr. Carroll, W4PCA. Carroll's a great dude. I wish I could stream our conversations in the morning, but I'm driving to work. It'd be kind of hard to do that. But me and him literally talk every morning when I'm driving to work. Carroll's, Lord, I guess probably in his 80s or so. So he's well retired. He gets to sit and play radio all day when his XYL doesn't have him out doing stuff. But anyway, yeah, you told me you made contact with him. He's told me the same. So, you know, it's interesting how you can network in this hobby, and you'll make mutual contacts and not even know it.
It's crazy, man. And like I'm talking on CW to some guy, right? I call CQ, some guy comes back to me. We start talking on CW. This guy's the retired border patrol chief of the entire border patrol. Like the deputy chief just retired, right? And talking to him through email, he's like, dude, if you ever want a job with the border patrol, like, get in touch with me. And it's just the amount of people you meet in this hobby. And it's such a small world that the ham radio community it's just so small. So
yeah, it's small, but it's huge at the same time.
It is, yeah.
It's really weird. Let's check on the chat here. We're at 7 watchers, but we've had 31 different views, so that's quite good. We're definitely getting out there. Reed was talking a moment ago. I may have already hit this one. I don't remember, but it was. He says he's learning CW from the Long Island CW Club. Steven says KY4CQ is the best. This is why he has gotten into it. And He says he's also looking at an old, what's that say, Lionel J38 key. Speaking of good keys, you had a key on my table. Now, while it wasn't your flavor, it was a really, really nice, solid key. Tell everybody what you had.
Yeah, so I had a W1 SFR Cootie key. If anybody that doesn't know, W1 SFR, he hand makes all of his keys in Vermont, and he's a Long Island CW club member. He makes all the club keys. So we've got our own little like club keys that we buy, and every year he does a new one and makes so many of them. And yeah, it's a Cootie key. So with a Cootie, it's a straight key, but instead of the normal up and down, they went you go left and right with your wrist, and a lot of people prefer it. It's not my flavor at all. I don't like it, but it was it's a beautiful key. It didn't sell at Huntsville. I thought it would, but now it's sitting on my desk. It's a desk piece. I mean, it's a beautiful key. It's going to sit there and next to my Bengali Spark and my UR5 CDX iambic paddle, and just sit there and look good on the desk, I guess. So I see Greg talking about our spark gap antenna at Monte Sano. Man, that was a trip. Did you hear that story, Josh?
I haven't heard that, but let me go back to the Cootie key real quick. I am reminded. Soul Studios, by the way, thank you for putting your call sign in there, because I can never remember it for whatever reason. KO4DDG, he said he almost bought it. Now that he said that, I remember him looking at it really closely. If you want it, I can put you in contact with Brady. Y'all can work something out. I won't talk about that on the air, but if you want it, we'll get you two together and y'all can work something out.
You like and subscribe to Josh, and we'll work you out some kind of a deal there. So.
Yeah, and talking about that particular key, I'm not a CW guy. I cheat when I run CW. I run it out of Ham Radio Deluxe's Digital Master 780. I don't know the first thing about it other than how to do it on the computer. But this thing really interests me as well. Like, just the build quality was amazing. It was stout. It had weight to it. You can tell that it was handcrafted. The colors, I mean, remind me, I think it was the base of it was all silver, but the rest of it wasn't gold. I guess it's probably brass or something.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was all brass. And then he hand makes. I mean, everything. He machines the base, and I mean everything. He makes awesome keys. A lot of his keys he makes, it comes from a certain type of like marble that you can only get in the state of Vermont, and they're just beautiful keys. So
wow,
yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I was thinking about that when I was working with that thing. I'm wondering if the base of it might be that marble and coated in some sort of a silver or something like that, because it's just got some serious weight to it.
Yeah. My Bengali key does too. My Bengali Spark, which is my favorite key. It's my straight key that I bought. It's made out of cast iron, the base is, so it's just stout. I guess not going anywhere. And I've got a heavy fist, so usually with straight keys, as I'm tapping the brass, it's popping up off the table. There's not enough weight on there, but this thing's stout, man. I can sit there and pound it all day long, and it just stays put. So
yeah, and that's what you want. You don't want to be chasing it around the desk,
yeah,
especially with something like that Cootie key. That, I mean, the motion that you're giving it is left and right motion, so yeah, it could slide really easily. But with a straight key, you're just going up and down, so you got less of a chance of it shifting then.
And I'm heavy fist. I put the definition of pounding the brass, man. I'm a pretty heavy hand on the CW key.
Now, for those in the audience that don't do CW, can the end user tell how hard you're pounding the key?
I'm sure you can. So CW operate. When I first got into CW, everybody told me like, oh, you can tell hams by the way that they send CW. And I didn't believe it. I was like, that's so dumb. But then I've had so many people like message me and email me that have talked to me before, and they're like, I don't even have to hear your call sign, and I know it's you because of the way that you send the Y and the 4 together. they just hear the Y and the 4, and they're like, "Yep, that's KY4CQ," because I send my Y it's just everybody's different. They got a unique key, right?
It's like a signature.
Yeah, so I'm sure experienced CW operators could probably tell. I'm not at that level. I can't tell. But a lot of the older guys swear up and down that you can tell people by the way that they send their CW.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Soul says he's not a straight key person. That don't matter. I told you it can be. I told you down at Huntsville, that thing can be a beautiful paperweight on your desk. And
all you have to do is swap the mono plug out for a stereo plug, and then it works as a single lever paddle.
There you go.
I run it as a cootie because that's the way it was designed. But if you take the mono plug off and put a regular 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve on there, it'll your radio will run it as a single lever paddle. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I promised them some stories about me and you. And I'm trying to think of what some of those may be. I know one at the top of our head that we always tell. It's about the Knoxville Ham Fest. You want to do the honors on that one, or you want me to do it?
Yeah. So, man, we had this old guy. He's silent key now. God rest his soul. But it was the name was Ralph, and I don't remember. WB4CTW, right?
WB Whiskey Bravo 4 Charlie Tango Whiskey.
So Ralph was known throughout the ham community of always being the first one at any ham fest anywhere. Any ham fest he went to, he was the first one there when the doors opened, and he was known for that, and he used to brag about it. Well, Josh and I, being young and stupid, having nothing else to do on a Friday night because we had no friends, we were like, we're gonna beat this old guy to the ham fest this year, right? And we did. We took off for the Knoxville Ham Fest at 3 p.m. or so, and Friday afternoon, spent all night driving around downtown Knoxville.
Went into Walmart
Went into Walmart at 2 in the morning for
no reason. Driving the staff crazy.
Oh yeah, getting on the MERS channels with the staff, and drove around downtown Knoxville. And by God, if we weren't the first ones in the door at the Knoxville Ham Fest, and that old guy was not happy with us. Would not speak to us for a while there, but everybody else thought it was pretty funny. We finally beat him to a ham fest.
His philosophy was, if you don't show up to a ham fest with a flashlight, you're late.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's about the case at Huntsville, man. With that boneyard at Huntsville.
The only issue with the Huntsville Ham Fest, and I love the Huntsville Ham Fest, it's probably my favorite. The only issue with it is I think it starts too late. They don't open the doors until 9 o'clock. Central time, that is. So that's 10 o'clock for us Eastern boys. It's too late. But coming from a vendor perspective, which I've been a vendor the last 2 years, I don't know if I would want it any earlier. That means we'd have to get there 5, 6 in the morning in time to set up.
My problem with the Huntsville in the early mornings is there's a lot of bourbon and beer consumed at Huntsville, and I don't know if I can get up any earlier than when I get up already. So
specifically at Monte Sano.
Yeah. That if you haven't been to the Huntsville Ham Fest, you need to go. But the Huntsville experience is never complete without coming up to Monte Sano State Park and hanging out with all of us that are camping up there. It is an experience. So many antennas up there. I mean, it's a good time. Josh, he came up there for the first time this year and got to experience it. And I don't know. I thought you had a good time.
Yeah, I did. And as a matter of fact, I had such a good time, I'm already booked for next year. Usually, me and Jordan, NA4WX, we usually get a Airbnb or a VRBO somewhere there in town. And love Jordan to death. He's one of my best friends in the world, but I've got to do something different this upcoming year. So,
well, Greg and I, KE4D and myself, we've gone twice now and camped both times, and we both had a blast. It's an experience you have to try at least once, and we're excited to have you up on the mountain next year. You're gonna enjoy it, man. it's the most welcoming group of like hams I've ever had in my life, because they'll get on 5-2 and I'll say, hey, we got burgers cooking down at campsite 3 or campsite 10 or whatever, and you just walk around and talk to everybody, play POTA. It's a wonderful time.
Well, and to that point, I came up there on Saturday night. After we went down to Mexican place, and one other thing about Monte Sano is if you want to beat the heat, go up to Monte Sano. It was almost cold. That wind blowing, it almost was cold. But anyway, Brady was having trouble lighting the fire because of the wind and the little bit of precipitation that had fell.
Well, and I'm sure the bourbon didn't help any.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
But he just grabbed the HT and hauled out on 5-2. Anybody got a torch or something to help start a fire? Somebody came right back. So let us use the torch and at least tried to get it started, but it still went back out. So even after practically pouring a whole bottle of lighter fluid on it. But that experience up there, it was just amazing. And I only got just a slight taste of it because I was only up there maybe an hour or 2 hours at the most. And I'd asked you, the other thing that's great about Monte Sano is that's where all the YouTubers are hanging out, right? And I asked you where they would be, and I was going to stop by there and introduce myself, say hello as I was on the way out. And I found them. They were over by campsite 3, which is right as you come in the door, or not in the door, right as you come in the gate there. And there was so many of them. Had I not had my daughter with me, I might have made a different decision. I just decided I'm not going to walk up to a bunch of people I don't know at 10 o'clock at night and introduce myself, especially with bourbon flowing. But considering I'm at campsite 13, I'm practically neighbors with this thing. So next year I'll definitely be up there hanging out. I talked to some of the other YouTubers and they said I would have been more than welcome. So we'll make that happen next year. But I think you showed me, I'm not a camper, folks, at all. If it's not in a trailer, that's I don't go that far. Well, guess what? I'm going that far this year. I'm tossing back and forth whether or not I'm going to buy me a pop-up, or not a pop-up, I'm an idiot. Buy me a pop-up tent, I should say. I'm not going into debt to buy a pop-up camper unless I get 1 million subscribers and can afford it. But I'm get me a tent and just do it on the ground there. Or if I'm going to do this this truck tent air mattress thing that Brady sent me, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Tell the viewers about that thing.
Yeah, it's just an air mattress that it's got the wheel wells cut out, right? And you put it in your truck bed, you inflate it, and then you turn your truck bed into a sleeping bed essentially, and then you've got a tent that goes over the top. It sits on top of your truck bed and it goes down, so then you've got a whole sleep system in the bed of your truck. It's if I didn't have a camper and I didn't prefer to sleep in a hammock, that would be the way I would go.
Yeah, he had get this, folks. He had a camper there. Well, it was Greg's camper. Greg, I guess you're still in here. He didn't even sleep in that camper. He slept in a hammock. Right.
Both nights.
I need a bed. I need a bed of some sort. Soul says they're hams. Yell CQ. I should have. But honestly, by the time we left, me and Charlotte, it was too late. She was about gone. And you know when she's tired, she gets quiet. Knowing the life of an 8-year-old.
Well, whenever you left, I was sitting there doing a POTA activation on CW, and you had left, and Greg's sitting there, and he's like, "Hey man, are you running a spark gap?" I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" He was like, "Your antenna's sparking, man," and I'm like, "No, it's not." And sure enough, I look every time I'm sending CW, there's sparks flying out of the end of my coil, my Wolf River Coils antenna, and yeah, man, that was a trip because that's the first time I had ever like visualized my CW sending with a spark coming out of the end of my coil. So I've got to get with River Coils because I don't know what has happened, but that thing is shorted out because when I took it off of there, the PVC pipe, the coils wrapped around was melted, and the coil was super hot, and yeah, so I did reach out to Wolf River Coils and they told me that's not normal, so that's a plus. So I gotta figure out what happened And I wasn't even running power, man. I was only running like 25 watts. So
I was going to say, I was about to blame it on you running too much power, like you blamed me running too much power on FT8.
You're the one that blew the finals out of that 710, man.
I didn't blow no finals out of the 710. I don't. It was just so I have a Yaesu FT710, and I'd only had it about a month, and then all of a sudden one night I'm like sitting in there laying in the bed. I leave it turned on most of the time. I shouldn't, but I do. And all of a sudden I just start. Charlotte comes in and tells me, "Daddy, I hear something, and something sounds like typing in my headphones." They're not wireless headphones; they're regular wired headphones into her iPad. Well, I just dismiss it. She's an 8-year-old, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I start hearing the loudest whine. Ah! I'm like, what is that? I come out here and it's this 710 screaming with a room full of smoke. And I don't understand what happened. I sent it off to Yaesu for a warranty repair, and they determined that the PA board had to be replaced. So I don't know. Maybe I had something faulty in the radio, something shorted out. I don't know, but I'm much more cautious with FT8 these days. Just to be on the safe side. Everybody talks crap about the FT8 and all these, in-fed antennas and things. I'm just better safe than sorry. But let's look back at the chat here. We're 6 viewers right now. Greg says you could hear and see CW. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
That's totally awesome.
Yeah.
POTA. We've been promising folks to talk about the POTA. Tell us about why you're into POTA, what you like about it, what your usual operating setup is, and maybe any favorite parks you might have.
Yeah, so I got into POTA mostly because I didn't have a home setup, right? And I needed a way to get on HF and use my privileges, because otherwise, what's the point in being an extra class operator, right? So that's when I think about the time I deployed with the military is whenever POTA started kind of getting big, and I kind of got into it. And I fell in love with it. I don't really have as many activations as I would like to have, but I have quite a bit of hunting done on it. And man, my setup, it depends, man. I'm usually an 891, and I'm usually running either CW or phone. Here recently, I've been strictly CW. I don't even know where my microphone for 891 is, but it's usually my setup. If I want to go QRP, I've got the Mountain Topper. I've got a Zygu 5105. I've got a true SDX radio. I've got, I don't know, I've got so many little like kit QRP radios that I've built. And usually my antenna is a Wolf River Coils antenna, because it's easy to deploy. I run a 20 meter 33-foot whip on it, so I can just run it without the coil and be on 20 meters pretty easily, which is my favorite band. And then I've got a few in-fed half waves I can throw up as well. A lot of parks don't like you throwing stuff in the trees, and they don't like ground spikes, so it gets pretty interesting then whenever you have to try to figure something out. But out of all the parks I've activated so far, my favorite's probably Monte Sano, man. It's just the atmosphere up there is awesome. The noise floor up there is quiet. It's got, an awesome view up there. When in the daytime you can see for miles up on top of the mountain up there. And every time I've been up there, it's been during Huntsville. So I've gotten 2-meter simplex activations. I've gotten 20-meter activations. I have a 40-meter activation up there. It's probably my favorite so far. I also really like FD Roosevelt State Park. It's a local park to us. It's got an area where you go out and you can just see all of South Georgia almost from up there. It's really pretty up there. So, yeah, that's kind of my story. But it started out as a need to get on HF and not without having a home setup, and now it's turned into an addiction, man. That's what it is. a few guys follow me on Ham Alert. Greg's one of them. Greg will hit me up and say, "Hey man, you having a busy day today?" Because he'll just get blown up with POTA spots with my call sign on there, like all day long some days. So
yeah.
You do any POTA, Josh?
You know, I've done one POTA activation, and that wasn't even me activated, technically. Well, I mean, it counted as an activation, but it was a club activation. I guess all the people that worked, so those of you that haven't worked the POTA log before, when you put in your POTA log, it asks you who the operator was. So long as you put the operator in, it'll give the operator credit for the whole activation too, not just the operators, the ones that they worked. But me and the Skywarn group, we went up to Look Rock, which is Foothills Parkway, Great Smoky Mountain National Park, and we activated up there. Don't ask me what it is. I think it may be 0038. But anyway, we went up there and did an activation. Crazy enough, it was July 1st, and just like I was talking about, you want relief from the heat, go to Monte Santo. Same thing with up on the mountains here in the middle of summer. And we about froze to death that morning, in July 1st. But WX4TYS is the call sign we used. We worked about 100 stations in about 4 hours. A lot of fun. We're wanting to do another one at some point, but I think we're going to run out of time for this year. One thing that group and I have planned, we are going to be participating in the Tennessee QSO party, which is coming up. I don't know what the date is off the top of my head. I think maybe September 3rd. So it's coming up pretty quick. We'll be activating using November 4 Tango. So if you're scrolling the bands when the Tennessee QSO party is going, you hear November 4 Tango. That's us. Come work us. Brady, you do any of the QSO parties?
No, I'm not really a contester. Trying to do POTA this weekend or last weekend at Huntsville was kind of a pain in the butt because of the North American QSO party. It was hard to find a spot to operate, but we made it work. But yeah, I've never really been a big contester. It just usually the contest's fault. And you know, for those of you that don't know, when I'm not doing this Army stuff, I'm a paramedic by trade, so I do a lot of 24-hour shifts, and it seems like every time there's a field day event, a contest, anything that I want to do, it seems like I'm always on the ambulance. So it never works out for me.
Yeah. Well, I like the contest. I haven't done much. I'm a member of the Tennessee contest group. I haven't done any contest in a while. I guess the last contest I did anything with was field day. I like it. I like the thrill of doing it. And I've performed well. I've got one award right there. It's the AWRL digital contest. I got 7th place in the Tennessee section last year, and that was with my old call sign, WX4KXT. I participated again this year, and I did much better in Tennessee, maybe 3rd or 4th. I'll have to look up the results.
Yeah, you were wearing it out on FT8 this year.
Yeah. Well, I knew. Keep in mind that the Tennessee or the DX or digital contest. That's what May, June, something like that. I think it's late May, and I only got my extra class in April of last year, so I was still green behind the ears when it came to HF. So this year I kind of knew what I was doing, and I knew I had a good strategy. I basically sat there and operated continuously the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's a weekend long thing.
I think that was the first time that you and I had actually made contact on HF, because we were finally far enough apart to do it.
Yeah.
And then with the next week we got each other on sideband too, so that was pretty cool.
You were weak, if I remember right, like really, really weak. I could tell it was you, and that was about it.
Well, no, we had that night. Like, I don't know if it was the same night or not, but we had that short QSO on 40 meters, and it was just like sounded like we were sitting right there next to each other.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, we did. Let's see here. 6 watching. If you haven't already, folks, go down and hit that thumbs up button. It's directly below me. If you notice, I keep looking down. I have my iPad right here. This is how I'm watching the chat and the statistics of the stream. Please go down and hit that thumbs up button. Somebody just did. Thank you very much. You don't know how much the thumbs up and the subscribes help this channel. The only way this channel is going to grow is by people hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. If you're feeling really generous, you can hit the share button down below. Share the stream out with your friends, family, other hams, people you hate. I mean, I don't care. Just, I need eyes on the stream, you know. Worst enemies, you name it. Just don't fight on the channel. And then if you're feeling really, really, really generous, check out my Patreon at patreon.com/HamShackTV. So, we probably won't spend too much longer. We've been going about an hour. This is the longest live stream I've done so far, at least on this channel. What have we not talked about so far?
Man, you and I could sit here and talk all night long. That's the problem.
And which we have. So a little bit of the stuff that we are doing now together is we're both VEs. I run a VE team, a volunteer amateur radio group, and Brady helps me run it, along with Scott Irwin, W8UFO. And he does a really, both of these guys do a really good job. They help me keep it running. We run 3 sessions a week, but you know, we were talking a little bit earlier about VE testing and where it's gotten these days. Talk a little bit about your experience about VE. When did you become a VE? You know, did you do much VE stuff before we got together on it, or?
So I became an ARRL VE as a general back in. I was in Tennessee, right, and I got it. I never did anything with it. I just got it just to say that I had it because it was. I don't know. I thought it was bragging rights or something. I don't know why I got it, but so I didn't use it for forever, and then COVID hit. That's whenever I was like, I'm going to upgrade to extra class, and I found out about the online testing, and then once I passed my extra class through the online testing, Glarg had invited me to be a VE, and so I did. I was like, that'd be pretty cool because I was sitting at home. Greg gave me the COVID, so I had like 2 weeks of sitting at home, so I was just sitting at home doing the VE thing, and I kind of fell out of it, man. I kind of got, work kind of picked up. I kind of fell out of it, and you got into it. I forget how somehow you got into it, and then you were like, hey, like you should come do it with me, and then you started your own team, and then I think I've been pretty consistent with you since you started your team. I think I've been with you pretty consistently since then, and worked my way up from a lowly VE, not knowing anything, to being a team lead and a session manager now. So it's been a lot of fun, man. It's I think you and I kind of got started in VE around the same time as well.
Yeah, at least hot and heavy anyway. So
Studio says he's a VE. That's with ARRL. What do we have? I'm KVEC, W5YI, Glarg, Anchorage, Laurel, ARRL. I think you're all those as well except for KVEC.
Yeah, I'm not K. It's easier for me down my list. I have CVE. Well, lead status. I'm not going to define every single thing, but I have lead status with ARRL and W5YI. I am a regular VE for Anchorage and Glarg, and I also have WestCars, Western Carolina Amateur Radio Society, I think is what the S is. WestCars does not do any online testing. The only reason I have WestCars is because my buddy Carroll, who we talked about earlier with CW, he has a WestCars pen and paper team. But the rest of these are all online teams. KVEC is just now coming online. As far as I know, they really only work with one online team right now, and that's by their choice. KVEC, if anybody's watching, I'd love to work with you. Our team's got 500 sessions, or actually probably more than 500 under our belt. We'd love to work with you. But we also enjoy our current partners with the ARRL and W5YI. As a matter of fact, shout out to Tracy Dye. I got to meet her at Huntsville along with Alan Battinger. Great people, super nice. Glad to finally put a face with a name on that. I don't know if I'll ever meet Maria Soma or those the big people at the ARRL. Who knows? I'm planning on going to Dayton this year. I've already made that decision, so maybe I'll see him at Dayton. I don't know.
I'm super jealous you're going to Dayton, man. This is on my bucket list as a ham.
Well, take some time off and come on.
Dude, I wish I could. I really do. It's on my bucket list.
You said
if I go to Dayton, I'm gonna have to fly up there. I'm gonna have to hop in the plane and fly up there.
I was fixing to say, you said it yourself. You're a pilot.
Dude, it's like an 8-hour drive from South Georgia, man.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna throw a plug in there. If you're a VE and you're interested in joining us, man, Volunteer Amateur Radio Group, send us an email, vargtesting@gmail.com. I'll put it in the chat.
It's a great idea.
We could always use more VEs, and if you're watching this and you want to get your license, join it. Let us test you, man. If we don't have a session you can do, let us know. We can make one for you. So.
Well, in addition to that, too, our team is part of a network of VE teams as well. So if the times that we offer are not convenient to you and we can't make a session, I bet you we can find you a session. One of our colleague teams would be happy to have you. So we do, and we test all license classes. If you're not familiar, we use a program called Exam Tools. That's how we proctor the exam along with Zoom. So it's super secure, super easy. Check it out. What else was I going to say? I guess it wasn't important. But
if you're not accredited as a VE and you want to be, I don't think the league is accrediting VEs. I think their system's still down, but we can get you accredited through W5Y. And we've both Josh, myself, and Scott all can sign your application. We're all team leads, so just let us know. We'll get you up and going. And
the good thing is with getting you signed up with even the league still takes a little while to get you processed and get you as a VE. Also with the league, you have to do an open book test to become a VE. We can skip all that with W5Y. We can get you accredited. Generally, the return I've been seeing from W5YI has been about a week or less. Some of them I've seen done in the next day as far as accreditation.
And you get one of these weapons of a badge, man. That thing's thick, boy.
I know, man. I got that thing in the mail, and I'm like, what is this? I just feeling the package. I'm like, what in the world is that?
Yeah, the old W5Y, man. They're like, sharpen the edges on this thing. Use it as a survival knife.
I thought you were going to say make it a shank.
So
somebody fails their test, you just shank them.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You were going to talk about the GMRS linking.
Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. So, some of you may or may not have heard. I know Josh talked about this on Ham Radio Crash Course. The GMRS. So let's just lay it out there. GMRS rules from the FCC have always said you're not allowed to link repeaters. There's been an update to that very recently, and that update said that said something to the extent as they made it to where it says you're not allowed to link by any means. There are some linked repeater associations that have shut down because of this ruling. There are some that do not believe that they are in violation. What is the part? It's not Part 97, is it?
No, is it? No, it's not Part. No, 97's ham.
50 or 90?
I was gonna say 61, but no, that Part 61's airplane flight training. I don't remember.
Whatever it is.
Part 95. Part 95.
95, that's it.
Yeah.
yeah, there's some groups that don't believe that they're in violation of Part 95. I have not had a chance to completely read this and digest it. And on top of that, I'm not an attorney, an enforcement person, or anything like that. But I'll just be completely transparent. I'm a member of a linked repeater association, and I just recently got that membership, and this now has me questioning whether I just threw away. I set a Benjamin on fire or something over this. I just don't know. Brady, have you had a chance to read through these rules and see what you believe on it?
Yeah, so the way I interpret it is that there is no linking allowed at all on GMRS, and that's the way that I interpret it. I'm not an attorney by any means, and it's really going to come down to the FCC's attorneys and how they interpret the rule. But the way it's, and a lot of people are saying this is a new rule that's put out, but this is not a new rule. The FCC just came out and said, hey, we used a lot of big words, and repeater owners don't understand big words, so we're just going to put this out in plain English. And that's all they did. And the way that I interpret it is that you can't use any telephone line, internet, or RF linking. But I've heard a lot of repeater owners say, oh, well, it doesn't specifically mention that we can't use RF linking, so therefore it's legal. So I don't know. I don't care either way, man. I don't use DMRS enough for it to bother me, and I think it's stupid. You can't link them together. It's the only service where you can't link repeaters together. So I don't know. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other. But it's got a lot of people in the GMRS community like up in arms about it.
Yeah, and folks, I know this is a ham radio centric channel, but we have to pay attention to GMRS. And the reason we have to pay attention to GMRS is because we have a lot of hams are coming from GMRS. Like they're GMRS licensees, and they've got that taste for radio, and they just want a little more. So they get their tech license. We've actually experienced some GMRS people come over lately into ham here in East Tennessee, and their radio etiquette has been absolute garbage. Not saying all GMRS operators are like that, but complete garbage etiquette from some of these GMRS people. So we've got to pay attention to these guys, and of course, we want to welcome them into the community. There's no question about that. But we also need to be able to encourage them to use the right methods and things like that when they come in. Know the right etiquette. We're not CB operators. We don't talk like CB operators on ham radio. I've heard some folks get in there and yell, this is call sign patio portable and crap like that. I'm like, and I'm still losing my voice, so overlook that. It's just really kind of ridiculous. Now we do have some friends that do certain things. And some of it's comical. It's for comical purposes. Whereas some of these GMRS clowns, they're just uneducated at this point. I want to give a shout out. One of the people I'm thinking about. So we'll see you later. Thanks for coming in. Hello, Clint. See you in the chat there. KI4CQ. Want to give a shout out. One of the people I'm thinking about is KD4PRH in the hood. That's old. Why is his name escaping me all of a sudden? Roger?
Right? Is it Roger? I think so.
That just doesn't feel right to me. Is it Roger? You pulling up QRZ?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Yeah, Roger.
That is right. Okay, KD4PRH. Some of you may know who Roger is. Roger is the net control for the Dixie Traders net. And let me tell you something. That net is one of the coolest nets I've ever been a part of. I've been a buyer and a seller on it. But Roger calls that net, and he always says in the hood after his call sign, so it's quite funny. But you can find some heck of deals on equipment on that net, and it is on a linked system, which, by the way, you can link in ham. But they get check-ins from far away as Oklahoma and stuff like that. But it's even easier. You can get on to Echolink and look up W4KEV and check in every Friday night. It's right there on your cell phone. You don't even need a radio to link in. So tune in. It's 8, 9 o'clock on Friday, something like that, Eastern time, and you might be able to find a good deal. Other person I want to shout out to, he's got a YouTube channel, and I want y'all to go check it out. He's a really good dude. KY4CQ. Another Roger up in Cosby. We like to call him the mayor of Cosby around here. But he's got a YouTube channel. Look up KY4CQ on YouTube. He goes by Radioactive sometimes, so check him out. I think you'll like his content. He shows antennas and his shack and all that kind of stuff.
He's the mayor of Cosby, Tennessee.
Is he actually the mayor, or did the Hams give him that title?
I don't know. We've always just said that. I don't think he is, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's good people. He's good people. He's a big Icon fan. I know that. Big Icon fan. Although he does have, I think he's got a 101 MP. I think, if I remember correctly, last time I watched his video.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, you're talking about how we don't talk like CB. I have a bad habit of using 10 codes, not both on the public safety side and the ham side. And we're supposed to be plain language on both, but I've just came up through the era where we use 10 codes for everything, and sometimes it just carries over without even thinking about it. You know, it's been 1023 has been arrived on scene for as long as I've been in public safety, and so it's just a bad habit to break. So if you hear me on the repeaters using 10 codes, I'm sorry.
Well, and the problem with that though is 10 codes are not the same nationwide. Like you just said, 1023 is on scene. I grew up with 1097 being on scene.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I was going to ask you why we had to use plain language, or why we couldn't use 10 codes, and you reminded me it's because we're supposed to use plain language. But I'd like to know what the difference is in me saying 10-4 and me saying 7-3. What's the difference in that?
I mean, I say QSL. That's a CW habit that's carried over to the phone side.
Well, we all say that.
Yeah, but on the CW side, it's a lot easier to sing QSL than it is to, or 73 or any of that. I mean, a lot of the short hand stuff that we use on ham radio came from the CW side, because, yeah, I could say best wishes, but that's a lot of beeping versus 7-3 is quick and easy to the point, you know. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I just, and you brought up a good point, the Q codes, and I know the Q codes have been around forever, but people outside of our hobby don't know what Q codes are. I mean, hell, I've been a ham for 15 years, and I still don't know what all of them are. I know quite a few of them, but you know, what do we do on HF? We call CQ, and then when we get done with one contact, we say QRZ, Alpha 4 Whiskey X-ray. Nobody knows what that means outside of the community. So I kind of feel like we have a double standard when it comes to
Miami-Dade County, of all places, uses Q codes in their public safety radios.
Really?
Yeah, you can look them up on the internet. But yeah, they use they won't ask what's your 20. They'll ask what's your QTH, and they use QSL instead of 10-4. It's a very it's unique, man.
Must be inspired by ham. Has to be.
Or the railroad. I think the railroad used to get like Q codes back in the day, but that was because of CW.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Boy, the hobby's changed. I mean, I gotta say, one of my favorite scenes in Titanic is the radio room. That was just awesome. Those spark gaps there that they had. I mean, you need to go, if you have never seen the deleted scenes from Titanic, there are extra scenes from the radio room that most people don't know about.
Just buy you a woofer of coils and melt the sumbitch, and then you'll have a spark gap transmitter. You can recreate the scene. I can tell you firsthand all about it. So,
yeah, no kidding. What and we'll hang it up here in just a minute. We're running up on an hour and a half here. The talking about Titanic, they used a different variation of CQ that I've never heard used other than in Titanic. And it was CQD. Is that an actual thing?
So CQD is it's been replaced by SOS because SOS is a lot faster to send. But before SOS was a thing, the international distress signal was CQD.
Is that the same as like CQ distress?
Yeah, and and it's the same as sending SOS. It's just and that the reason why they got rid of a CQD is it's a lot easier to send SOS because it's dit dot 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 dit, versus CQD. But
come on, I'm gonna call on you to do it. Do it,
man. Dotted it. So
that sounds like one of Tim Barry's repeaters I did.
But if you get on YouTube, they have the entire CQ or the entire Titanic CQ distress call in Morse code, and it's been translated out to English, so you can actually read the entire distress call.
Yeah, their call sign was Mike Golf Yankee, wasn't it?
Yeah, MGY.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's something else you and I did before when you were up here. It just reminded me. Didn't you go up to the Titanic special event and work with me?
No, I was gone. I was gone. I remember if I was. See, I fell out of the hobby for a little bit there in Knoxville, man, because I was living at the rescue squad full time. I was living there, so I was doing the rescue squad thing, and then doing working on the ambulance, and it seemed like I was always on an emergency vehicle somewhere. So.
Yeah, I remember those days. I do remember that. Yeah, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in Sevierville, there is a Titanic museum. And it is, I won't say it's a full-size replica, but it's at least half the ship. They just opened it back probably 15 years ago or so. And one of the things they did was a 100th anniversary of the sinking special event station up there. And I think they used Whiskey 4 Tango, if I remember correctly. I'm probably wrong on that. Or maybe
I think that's right, yeah.
No, it was Whiskey 4S, or Whiskey 4 Sierra.
Okay.
Because the Sierra, it was White Star.
Yeah.
For the White Star line. Well, Brady, I hate to do this, but I'm going to probably go ahead and call it, because you can hear I can't keep my voice under control. I thought I had it back, but it's still going.
Yeah, man, it's been fun. Thanks everybody for joining in with us for sure. Be sure and like and subscribe there. Thanks for having me on, Josh. You know me, anytime you need something to talk about, just hit me up. We'll make it work. So
yeah, we'll figure it out. We've covered a lot, and thanks for the shout out on the like and subscribe. Definitely do that. Links are right down below. Also, want to direct everybody, if you want to support the channel, we do have Patreon now. Go check out patreon.com/HamShackTV. Also, you can go to hamshacktv.com. Do have some Amazon links there. If you click on any of my Amazon links, doesn't matter what you buy, it'll help out the channel. You don't even have to buy whatever you clicked on. Just click on one of my links and it'll help you out. I have deals with Better Safe Radio, great little walks-on radios. They're not the walks-ons that we grew up with. They're much better now, much better radios. I've also got Alpha Antenna, Heil ham radio. Brady will attest, Heil's got some great audio equipment.
Yeah, I use a Heil for on my FTDX10, man. It's great.
Yeah, I love Heil's equipment. I know I'm forgetting one of my affiliates, but folks, if you need to purchase anything ham radio related or whatever, let me know. I'm happy to guide you in the direction. I mean, if you're going to spend your money, you might as well help your buddy out. So definitely check out hamshacktv.com. We'll get you taken care of. So we're going to hang it up. Thanks for joining us tonight. Everybody, appreciate you being here. And we'll do it again. I doubt I'm going to live stream tomorrow night. But we'll try to get you some content up for sure. So good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. 7-3. Brady, you can chime in on this one too. I'll let you outro us. This is AA4WX WSCB 693.
KY4CQ WRKM 21973.
Good night, everybody. Paint the blank.